I am here, Mr. Tony. How are you, man?
I'm awesome, buddy. How you doing?
Good. Well, awesome. It is so good to have you back on these training calls. We miss you, man. We miss you on here. So, anyways, listen, Tony, this stuff is so important. Before I get started, I want to make sure everybody is paying attention to what I'm about to say. If you're paying attention, raise your hand, give me a shout out, because what I'm about to cover here today is extremely important, okay? If you sell Final Expense over the telephone and you're at the end of these sales, you need to button down these deals. You need to button down these deals before you get off the phone to avoid any potential buyer's remorse and any potential cancellation. You need to button these deals down. And this is where you do it at. Now, if you guys are having issues with chargebacks and with cancellations and with NSFs and with all kinds of other issues that are happening after the sale, you need to pay attention here. And you need to start buttoning up your deals at the end. Okay, many of you at the end are getting off the phone without buttoning down the deal, without cooling down the customer, without blocking any potential reason for a cancellation. And if this is you and you're having these chargebacks, you better be taking notes right now and you better be doing this. How many of you are closing deals, and in order to close the deal, you're having to use a close such as, well, you're not paying for anything today. So here's what we can do to make this really simple for you. We're going to go with the lowest option because that's the most affordable one. After all, your biggest concern is that we take this heavy burden off your shoulders and we put this in place for your wife. Now, if you want to make any changes after you talk to your wife or you talk to your kids, I'm always going to be here to help you with that. But the last thing that we would want to happen is that you get sick, hurt, or even worse, die without this protection. So go ahead, circle that smallest option, and what's your middle initial? If you're closing your customer like that, that's fine. That's part of our process. But at the end of the call, when you're buttoning it up, when you're in the cool down, when you're in the peace of mind, you have to rehash how you closed that person, how you gathered that person's information, how you even got them here in the first place. You have to make sure that if they wanted to talk to their husband, if that was what their concern was, if they wanted to talk to their kids, if that's what their concern was, if it was that they were shopping around, if that's what their concern was, if their concern was that, they want to make sure that they're getting a good deal, you have to make sure you're buttoning down the deal in the peace of mind. If you're just getting to the end and getting off the phone with them, just reading the script and going through the process, you're not going to get a good result. You're going to get people that are calling up and canceling. You're going to get people that are calling you back and saying, yeah, I talked to my husband. I don't want this anymore. He talked me out of it. You're going to get people that say, hey, I got something in the mail the other day and it's $20 cheaper. You're going to get people that say, hey, somebody knocked on my door and told me they could get me a better deal. You're going to get all these things happening if you don't button the deal down here. So what I'm about to show you is how to button down the deal when you get those types of concerns going on, when you go to close them and you overcome their objections. Let's say a customer says to you, well, I need to talk this over with my husband. But you're still able to collect their banking information, do the DEMA call, get all the way through the process. You're still able to do that. You convince them to go through with the process. At the end, you got to say something to the effect of, Tony, you're good now. And we're going to go ahead and mail out that package to you tomorrow. It's going to include the pre-planning guide and some of the information about the program that you've qualified for today. We're also going to check in with you every so often just to see how you're doing. And in the meantime, if you have any type of questions or concerns, you can always call me. But Tony, let me ask you something. Don't you feel good about the decision that you made today to put this coverage in place for your wife, Karan? Don't you feel good about it? I mean, I think you did an awesome thing. How do you feel about it? And then he's going to say, well, I feel pretty good about it. I feel good. Good. Well, Tony, I'm glad that you feel good about it. I mean, you're an amazing guy. For you to think about your wife and for you to make this decision and for you to put this coverage in place for your wife today is absolutely outstanding. And I commend you for that. Tony, when you talk to your wife about this, what are you going to ask her? What are you going to say? Are you going to go to her and say, honey, look what I've done in order to protect you? Or are you going to ask her if you made a good decision? What are you going to do, Tony? And then what's going to happen is he's going to tell you what he's going to say to his wife. And then from there, you're going to be able to combat or block any potential objection and steer him so that he does the right thing when he goes to speak with his wife. You're going to talk about affordability. You're going to talk about what he is going to talk about with his wife. You're going to make sure that when you get off the phone, that he is committed in his own mind that he made the decision, and it doesn't matter what his wife says. You have to convince him that it was his decision, that he made this decision to protect his wife. And if you're not doing this type of stuff, and you're just getting off the phone, then what's going to happen to you is you're going to get a call back, and the person's going to say, yeah, I talked to my wife, and my wife thinks that, we can get a better deal somewhere else, or my wife has told me to hold off. Because you didn't coach him on how to speak with his wife. You didn't give him the information on how to talk to his wife. You didn't praise him enough to make him feel like he's a man and that he made this decision. Okay? That's what's needed here. You need to challenge their ego. You need to make them feel as if they made the decision for their wife. It's not up to the wife. It's not up to the husband. What about people that say they need to talk to their kids? Let me ask you a question. How many of you need to talk to your kids to buy a life insurance policy? Probably not very many of you. Not very many of you need to talk to your kids to buy a life insurance policy. Okay? These people don't need to talk to their kids either. The reason they're saying that is because they're leaving a door open so that if they want to cancel, they can blame it on their kids. You have to get them to say that they made the decision. You have to find out why they want to talk to their kids. And then you have to coach them and show them why they don't need to talk to their kids. They're making this decision for their kids. Their kids aren't making it for them. Does that make sense? So when you get to that point and you say, now don't you feel good about the decision that you made for your son, Johnny, that you put this protection in place for him? Don't you feel good about that, Tony? I mean, you're an amazing, amazing dad. For you to think about your son, for you to put this protection in place for your son, and for you to make this decision today, that's amazing. That is amazing. You know, Tony, what are you going to ask your son or tell him about this policy that you took out when you go to talk to him about it? What are you going to say to him? And make them tell you what they're going to say to their son. Make them tell you. And then based on the information that they give to you, you're going to then coach them and help them understand that this is a decision they made, not a decision that their kids make for them. And then you're going to button them up, you're going to tie them down to their decision by praising them and making them feel good and getting them to agree with you that they made the decision today to protect their son. And there's absolutely no reason that they would call back and cancel after speaking with their children. And get them to tell you that. Get them to admit to you that there's nothing, as long as the program and the plan is exactly as described, that there's no possible reason that they would ever change their mind. Get them to tell you these things. If you're not doing this at the end of your calls, if you're not buttoning up the sales like this, then you're leaving yourself open for a chargeback. You're leaving yourself open for failure. Let's talk about when a customer tells you they're shopping around up front in the deal, and you're still able to close them. You're still able to close and go all the way through the process. You collect their banking. You're done. You're all the way through, and you remember that part of their deal was that they want to shop around, right? Well, if you leave that open at the end of the call and you don't address it and you don't find out if they're 100% satisfied, then chances are when you hang up the phone, the next TV commercial they see, they're calling that number. You have to solidify the deal at the end that the shopping has stopped. There's no more reason for this person to shop around. And if they're still giving you reasons that they need to shop around, well, you need to fix all those reasons so that when they hang up, they feel good about the decision they made. So let me explain to you how that would look. You know, Tony, don't you feel good about the decision that you made today to get this protection in place, to finally stop all the shopping and to finally buy the policy that you need to protect your children? Don't you feel good about that? Now, based on what they say, you're going to take that information and you're going to start solidifying and piling on to what they say. So if they say, yeah, I feel good about it, you're going to say, awesome. So, Tony, the shopping has stopped. You feel good about your decision today, right? You don't need to shop around anymore, do you? If they say yes, they need to shop around, you need to find out why they're still shopping around. You need to stop the shopping. You need to get them to agree that the shopping has stopped. And if they don't say that, then you have to make them aware of all the potential pitfalls that could come by continuing to shop around. You have to talk about your competition at this point. You have to talk about how these other policies they're getting in the mail go up in price every couple years, how they're going to expire when they turn age 80, how they're going to waste their money, they're gambling their money. You're going to have to get them to understand that what they have with you is better than they can get anywhere else, and it's your job before you get off the phone to convince them of that, so that when you hang up the phone, they know that they have the best possible plan. Will it be maybe a little bit more expensive? Might be, but you have to get them to agree that that's what they need. If you're getting off the phone and you're allowing your customers to still go out and go shopping, well, you've set yourself up for a huge chargeback. You're setting yourself up for failure. So, are you all following me here? What needs to happen? You need to button up these deals. You need to get them to verbalize that they're 100% satisfied with the services that you've provided. They're 100% in agreement with what they've done. They're 100% on board and understand the plan that they have purchased today 100%. If they don't, you are circling back around and you're going to make sure that they understand everything that they did today, and you're also going to make sure that they know that they're paying for that policy. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're paying for the policy. Now let me show you how to challenge a customer on making the payment. Let me show you what you're going to do here. Okay, so when you get to that point and you say, good, Tony, good, because what my company and I are doing today is we are making a commitment that we're going to have this money available for your daughter when she needs it the most. We're making that commitment to you, Tony. But it also requires a commitment from you. Now, Tony, this is a big sacrifice that you've made today to protect your daughter. And it's a sacrifice that says you're going to make the payment of $83 every single month for the rest of your life. Now, Tony, I'm not going to send you this policy unless you can assure me that you're going to hold up your end of the bargain and you're going to make sure that you make this payment every single month for the rest of your life. I'm not going to send this out to you unless you can assure me. So what I'm doing is I'm challenging them. I'm taking away the policy from them. I'm telling them, look, buddy, I'm not sending you this unless you commit to me right now. I'm challenging his ego. And what ends up happening is he's like, well, of course I'm going to make it. Of course I'm going to make the payment. And now they start verbalizing that they're going to make the payment. Now, is somebody who just verbalized that of course they're going to make the payment, yeah, absolutely I'm going to do that. Is somebody who's verbalizing it that strong because I've challenged them going to feel comfortable calling you back to say that they want to cancel? That's a tough call to make. After you've just verbalized to the customer, or they verbalize to you after you've challenged them, it's a tough call. They're going to think twice. You know what they're probably going to do? They're going to say, no, I can't call Vince back, but I can call up my cable company, or I can call up, this magazine subscription or whatever else they got coming out of their bank account, and I can cancel that. But they don't want to face you after you've challenged them. So challenge your customers on that commitment. Make them get all worked up inside. Get them thinking, of course I can make that payment. Button up all of the potential reasons why the customer might want to call you back and cancel. Whether it's they want to talk to their kids, their husband, they're shopping around, other companies that are soliciting them through the mail, through the television. Make sure that they understand that the shopping stops today and that they have what they need and that they're 100% satisfied, and get them to verbalize it to you. And if you do that, you will have very, very, very few correspondence. You will have very, very few cancellations, and you will succeed at a much higher level than people that are not doing this. Tony, that's all I have. Hopefully this was informative. I encourage you all to start doing this today. Make it a great day. You guys are awesome. I know you can do this. You just have to squeeze your butt cheeks and try something different and get in the trenches with these people and push them. Push the people to give you answers. If you got that far in the process, you can do this. Have a great day, everybody. It was awesome chatting today.